Hey guys, welcome to Online Tech Guru. In our first video, we saw a list of commands that were related to directories or folders. And in this video, I'll walk you through some of the commands that are meant for working on files. Okay, so let's get started. Let me open my terminal. Okay, so first we will understand how exactly we create files in Unix before looking into the commands. And there are two ways in which files can be created in Unix. The first is through touch command and the second one is through the vi command. Okay, so first we will understand how exactly this touch command works, how we are going to add data to a file before moving on to vi command. So the syntax for this touch command is touch followed by the file that you want to create. Okay, so I'll say I want to create test file. Okay, it looks like I don't have privileges to create a file under the root directory. So let me go to home directory. And if you guys remember well, in our first video, we saw a shortest or the fastest way of going to home directory using the tilde option. Okay, where tilde represents the home directory of the users. So let me run pwd on this to ensure that I moved to home. Yes, so I'm under Mahantesh, which is nothing but the home directory of this user. So here I'll try to create that file and let me call it as file. Let me call it as test file. Okay. And if I run ls-lit, I should be able to see this test file. Yes, test file has been created, and as I told you earlier, the size of this file is 0, which is nothing but a 0-byte file, or the file that does not contain any contents in it. So we will run a cat on this file to make sure that it doesn't contain any contents. Okay, so test file, yes, so it's giving nothing for us, which indicates that it's an empty file. Now to add some data to this file, we are going to use the redirection operator. Okay, so what I'll do is, right, so I'll say echo, and within double quotes I'll put some text which I want to be added to the file. So let me call it as this is first line of the file, and this is called as redirection operator. So what this operator does is it writes the output of a command to a file. By default, when you run any command, the output would be displayed onto the console, but this changes that default behavior by writing that output to a file. And here I'll say the file test file. Okay, so the contents of or the output of that echo command should be returned to test file. So we will check that by running the cat command on test file. Yes, so the string that I have enclosed within double quotes has been returned to test file. So we will try to add one more line to this file by using the same echo command, and I'll call it as second line of the file. Okay, and at this time I'm using two greater than symbol, which indicates that I want to append this contents to a file. A single greater than symbol override the file, whereas the double one would append it to the existing contents of the file. Okay, so I'll say test file, and we will again run the cat command to ensure that both the lines are present inside the file. Yes, so we have both the lines which have been added through two independent echo commands. So that's how you create a file using a touch command, and how you add data to that. Now the second option is using vi command. So the syntax for this is vi followed by the file name. So we will call it as test file 1. Okay, and when I hit enter, it's taking me to the vi editor. So this vi editor works in two modes. The first one is command mode and the second is insert mode. So insert mode is where you'd be adding some text to the file, like whatever you type through your keyboard would be added as a content to the file. Whereas in command mode, anything that you type in your keyboard would be recognized as a command. Okay, so by default, when you enter the vi, when you enter the file with the vi mode, it would be in command mode. And to switch to insert mode, we would be typing the key insert I. So if you can see here, now we are under insert mode. Let me go ahead and add some text here. Okay, so let me add the same text which I added in the first file. So this is the first line of file 1. Let me add one more line here, second line of file 1. Okay, so let me save this contents of the file. So before saving, we have to switch back to the command mode from insert mode, and the way for doing that is you need to press escape, right? So the insert which we had here earlier is disappeared now, which indicates that we have moved from insert mode to the command mode. And to save the file, we will be using the option colon, okay, so which is getting displayed here, followed by W and Q, which indicates write and then quit, and then go ahead and hit enter. Okay, so we will run the same cat command on this file as well to ensure that the contents that we added are present here. Yes, so both the lines are existing in this test file. Okay, so that's how you create files using touch command and vi command. We will then move on to our next command, which is used for copying a file, right? And the command for doing that is cp followed by the file that you want to copy. I'll just say file1 and the new file where you want to copy this file to, right? Let me call it as file2. Okay, I think file1 does not exist. So we will say test file1 and let's try to copy it to test file2. Sorry, test. Okay, so let's go ahead and check if the file2 has been created. Yes, file2 has been created, and its size is same as that of test file1 because that is where we copied it from, right? So that's how you copy a file from one file. Now if you want to copy it to some other location, right, then we will have to pass the path of that file, that directory. So we'll say test file1, then we will copy it to a folder called directory 1, which is one of the subdirectory in this home directory. Okay, and I'll call it as test file 3. Okay, so let's check the contents of directory 1. Mm, yes, so test file 3 has been created here, and this is also of 54 bytes. Okay, now if you want to retain the name while copying it to other location, then we can simply ignore the name of that file. So you just say the directory where you want to copy this file, so it will retain the name of the original file. Okay, so let me hit enter and run this lslrt. Yes, so test file 1 has been created, though we did not specify the name of that. Okay, so that's how you copy a file from one location to other location. Now if you want to rename a file, then we would be using the command move command. Okay, mv. So we will try to rename this test file 1 and give some meaningful name to that. So before that, let me go to directory 1 using cd command. Okay, and then say move followed by test file 1 to new file. Okay, and if I run ls-lrt on this, test file 1 has been renamed to new file. Okay, but the contents of file are still same, so I just gave a different name to that file. So this is how you rename a file. Okay guys, now if you want to remove any of these unwanted files, then we will have to use the command rm. Okay, so rm followed by the file that you want to remove. Let me give the new file which I created, right, and ls-lrt should not show that file this time because that has been removed now. Now if you run the same command again, then you will get an error. That is because the file new file has already been deleted, and it did not exist when you ran rm command for the second time. So the command threw an error saying that the file does not exist. So you have to be very cautious when you are trying to remove a file. You have to make sure that the file exists before when you try to remove that. Otherwise, you would end up the command throwing an error. But there's a way to avoid that, or there's a way to check if the file exists before you even try to remove it. And the option for doing that is rm-f and the file you want to remove. Okay, right? So this time uh, the command finished, but it did not throw any error. It just came out gracefully. So what it does is it first checks whether the file exists or not. So if the file exists, it would be removed, and if it doesn't exist, it just comes out pleasantly without throwing any error, right? So that's how you remove the file. Now if you want to remove multiple files, then you'd be using the option rm followed by um, file1, then space file2, and so on. Okay, so I have two files in this folder, and let me try to remove both of them in a single command. Okay, so if I run ls-lrt, yes, only test file 3 is existing here because file 3 and file 4 have been removed. So if you have multiple files, then you just have to specify all those names in the remove command so that you can remove them in a single command. But if you have hundreds of files, then specifying each and every file name would be a tedious job. So what you can do is you can just say remove followed by star. Okay, so which removes everything inside which removes everything inside a directory. But the directory one is still existing. If you want to remove the directory also along with the files inside it, then we would be using rm-r, right, which recursively removes everything. This command we have already seen in our previous video when we were trying to delete the directory and its contents. Okay, so before running that, let me go out of directory 1 and I'll run rm-r directory 1. Okay, so this should have removed me all the files in directory 1 and along with that directory. Yes, so directory 1 is not existing here. Okay, so yeah, so these are the different commands which one can use to remove files and multiple files. Okay, so we have been using a command to display the contents of a file to the console. That's cat command. So the actual purpose of this command is used to uh, concatenate multiple files and display that output either onto the console or write it to a new file. And the syntax of this command is cat followed by all the files that you want to concatenate. Okay, so let me try to concat some of the files which are existing in this directory. Test file 1, then I'll say test file 1, test file 1, then uh, test file 2, and hit enter. Right, so what it did is it first displayed the contents of test file 1 followed by test file followed by test file 1 and then test file 2. Okay, so it just concatenated all of them together. Now if you want to write this output to a new file, then we would be using the same redirection operator which we saw in one of our previous command. So I'll write the output to a new file and call it as test file 3. Okay, so let's go ahead and check the contents of test file 3 by using the same cat command. So yes, so the output of um, all the first three files has been returned to the fourth file, which is nothing but test file 3, right? So okay, let's move on to the next command. Sometimes if your file is too big and if you run cat command on it, then the output of that file would completely occupy your screen and you won't be able to make out what exactly is there. It looks very clumsy and you find it difficult to figure out the contents of the file. So in such cases, you can limit the output by using two commands. They are head and the tail command. So the head command is used to display the top n lines from a file, and the tail command is used to display the last n lines from the file. Okay, and the syntax for these commands is head followed by hyphen, and here we want to specify how many lines we want to be displayed from the file. Okay, so I'll just say I want the first line, and we have to give the file name, right? So yeah, so it's giving me only the first line from the file, and if I run tail command on this, then I should be getting only the last line from the file. Yes, so we have two lines, and we have two lines in the file, and from the head command we restricted only the first line, and with the help of take tail command we filtered only the last line. So these two commands are very useful when you are doing some debugging activity by limiting the output that's getting onto the screen. Okay, so that's the usage of head and tail command. Now if you want to understand how many lines are there in the file, then we would be using the command wc, which stands for word count. Okay, and the syntax for this command is wc followed by hyphen, and here you can pass different options. Now if you want to understand the number of lines, then we would be passing hyphen l option followed by the file name, right? So it's showing your output in two parts. The first column indicates the number of lines present in the file, and the second column gives you the file name. Okay, now if you want to understand how many characters are there, then we just have to replace this L with C. Okay, so it's showing me that there are around 55 characters in this file, and there's a way to identify the number of words also, for which we have to pass hyphen W option, right? So that's how you identify the number of lines, characters, or words in a file. Now, if you want to extract some part of this file, let's say you have 10 different columns in your file, and you are interested only in a limited number of fields, then we would be using the command cut to do that. Okay, so this cut gives you certain fields from the file with some delimiter. Okay, so the syntax of this command is cut followed by hyphen d, which indicates the delimiter, and within double quotes you need to specify the delimiter, comma, and then hyphen f, which indicates which fields you want to be extracted from the file. So I'll just say field 2 followed by the file name. Okay, so let me run it on test command, and if I hit enter, it gave me the second column which is present in this file. Okay, so let me show you the contents of this test file. So it has three columns in it. The first column is a unique number, the second column indicates the capital city, and the fourth column indicates the state that the city is part of. Okay, so if I run the same cut command by passing 3 as the field, then I should be getting the last column, which is nothing but the state of each of this capital, right? Now if you want to multiple fields to be extracted, then we just have to specify those fields after hyphen f option, right? So if I want the second and third field to be extracted, then I would say 2 hyphen 3, right? It gave me the second and the last field, which is nothing but the third field. So that's how you extract, the part of file or part of the line with the help of cut command. Then there's a command which helps you in ordering the output of a command in a particular order, in a ascending order and in descending order, and the command for doing that is sort. Okay, so the syntax for this is sort followed by the file name. So let's run it on the same test file. So it did alphabetical sort on the file. Now if you want the sort to happen on certain fields, then you will have to specify the key columns on which you want to do the sort. So before that, here also you'll have to say what is the delimiter in your file, and for that we use the option -t. Then in single quote you say comma as the delimiter, followed by -k, which indicates the key column on which you want to sort the data. And let me give the column second, followed by the file name, right? So it sorted the data on second column, right? So Bangalore is appearing at the first, followed by Hyderabad, followed by Mumbai, and then followed by Delhi. So that's how you sort the output of the command, or output, sort the contents of a file. Okay, that's all for this video. And in the next video, we will see the advanced commands like find, sed, grep. Okay, so thank you for watching this video. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.